This research study focused on the effects overpopulated classrooms have on student academic achievement. I created this research study, and my name is Daly Weaver. The problem this research study will address is poor student academic achievement in a K through 12 setting. The purpose of this research is to explore the effects overpopulated classrooms have on student academic achievement. This research study will answer the question, what are the perceptions of educators on the effect of overpopulated classrooms in regard to student academic achievement in a K through 12 setting? The graphical representation below confirms that there is a positive impact on student academic achievement when the classroom sizes are smaller. This meaning there is a negative impact on student achievement when the classroom sizes are overpopulated. The research below shows that even with one child less in a classroom, the test scores are going to increase. Therefore, smaller classroom sizes are beneficial when it comes to student academic achievement. So as we are looking at this graphical representation, these are just a few of the states that were tested and researched, and it can prove that even with one student, so all of these states put one student less in each classroom, and it shows that almost all of them had an increase in their average test score. For my action plan, I use systematic sampling. I will choose one elementary school who has overpopulated classrooms and one elementary school that has average size classrooms. I will choose to work with two schools that are in an elementary setting, and I will choose 5 teachers on a 3rd grade level to work along with their classes from each school. So I have chosen 2 different elementary schools, and I'm going to work with teachers on the 3rd grade level, and there are 5 of them. And I will use those 5 teachers and classrooms from each school, so there will be 10 total teachers and 10 classrooms full of students. One school, of course, having overpopulated classrooms and one school having average size classrooms, so I could compare those as well. The instrumentation that I will be using is a pre and post test that I will use to collect data on the students. Now, to collect data on the teachers, I will be using the videos that the teachers use to record themselves in the classrooms so that I can observe environmental factors such as the class size and how these things may possibly affect student academic achievement. So not only will I be looking at the data I get from the students pre and post test, I will also be watching the teachers and the environmental factors in the teachers' classrooms. I will collaborate with the teachers I have chosen to work with during this research study. So those 10 3rd grade teachers that I have chosen to work with at the 2 different schools. I will ask them their opinions on the research question. What are the perceptions of educators on the effect of overpopulated classrooms in regard to student academic achievement in a K through 12 setting? So not only will I be using data from these 10 classrooms, I will also take into consideration the teacher's opinions on this research question to help me decipher and come to a conclusion. The procedures will be 1, giving all 10 classes of students the pretest. I will then instruct the teachers to, for a certain amount of time, deliver instruction, explicit instruction on certain standards that are being tested on the pretest and the post-test. Then, of course, the students will take the post-test, and after that, I will evaluate and compare the results from the 2 different schools. So I will hopefully at the end of this research study be able to say if classroom size has an effect on student academic achievement or if it does not. And if it does have an effect, is it a positive or a negative effect? If the students in the classroom are absent a lot, it can have a negative effect on the data that will be collected in the end. If the students do not show an increase from the pre-test and the post-test in their academic achievement, it may very well simply be from the fact that the student missed a lot of the explicit instruction on the specific content. So there are two forms that I have to get, send and get permission for in order to complete this research study. So the first one is just permission to conduct the research study in a whole. So I wrote this letter to my superintendent since he is head of MCPSS, which is the school system I work for. So this is just a simple letter stating and asking permission if I can work with those two elementary school third grade teachers and their classrooms. And of course, I would have to get a yes, or he would have to sign and send this back to me saying that he does approve me conducting this research using the data from the students. And then this consent form is going to be for anyone that I come in contact with for this research study. So the 10 teachers, the students full of in those classrooms of the 10 teachers, the principals of those schools, anyone that the parents, if they are involved in any type of way or form, anyone who is going to take part in this research study, I have to get permission for them to do it. They have to say, yes, it is okay, or no, it is not okay, before I can even begin the first step of the research process. So, as you know, I did not actually conduct this research, but if I did, students in the classrooms that are overpopulated would most likely, in my opinion, have a lower percentage pass rate on the pre and post test that was given. Then the students that were in the classrooms that were smaller and the teachers were able to perform mostly small group instruction with those students will see a huge rise in student academic achievement. This research would then conduct that overpopulated classrooms does have a negative effect on student academic achievement. Again, I did not actually do this research and give students a pre and post test and take their data and analyze it. But if I did go through all of these steps in my research process that I wrote, I believe that it would show that there is an effect on student academic achievement when it comes to overpopulated classrooms, and it is a negative one. When teachers are allowed to have smaller classrooms, it allows teachers to teach more in small group, which is where differentiated instruction comes in place because all students learn at a different pace. They learn in different ways. So small group instruction is the best option to meet all the students' needs in the classroom. So if teachers are allowed to do that, there will be a rise in student academic achievement. But when teachers are having classrooms that are stuffed with children and are overpopulated, small group is not as realistic, and it's harder to meet all the students' needs when it comes to academics. So this is my opinion on how we can make student academic achievement rise. Now, this is a goal for every teacher, for every principal, for every superintendent of the school system. This should be the goal that we want to see for all of our students. So in order to see student academic achievement rise, first we need to find more teachers. When we have more teachers, leads to number 2, we are able to create smaller classroom sizes that make students feel comfortable and safe. And when that happens, again, smaller classroom sizes means a lot more small group instruction, a lot more one-on-one instruction to where the students' needs are met and differentiated instruction is taking place, which is number 3. So take part in mostly small group instruction to meet students at their level. And then, of course, 4, you collaborate with your coworkers to create meaningful, engaging lessons. You have to work with each other to create engaging lessons. Constantly assess student knowledge and understanding is number 5. We have to constantly assess their knowledge to see if we need to move on or if we need to reteach. And then, of course, if something does not work the first time, find a different way to teach it. It is okay to change. Whatever we need to do, whatever we can, change our lessons, collaborate with coworkers, assess student knowledge in order to know if these students are ready to move on to the next step or if they need to keep reviewing that standard before moving on. You don't want to move on and the students not know the standard before, because then, of course, when you move on to something deeper in that standard, they're not going to know it either. This research study opened a lot of doors for me. It opened my eyes to see that student academic achievement rising is possible if we follow these steps. If we find more teachers, if we create smaller classrooms so we can teach small group, if we collaborate and make meaningful, engaging lessons with our coworkers, find strategies online or from people who you work with, and then constantly assessing their knowledge to know if we need to reteach or if we need to go ahead and move on because they got it. And then, of course, if it doesn't work, that's okay. Teachers always tend to get upset that if something doesn't work, that they're failures, and that's not true. Every class learns a different way, so if something doesn't work the first time, try it a different way, and you will be surprised that it may work that second time. Thank you.